Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
Today's sponsor is Audible.com. They're a leading provider of spoken audio information and entertainment. Listen to their audiobooks whenever and wherever you want. You know, I do a lot of driving. I'm always listening to an audiobook, and I love it. I couldn't live without Audible. If interested, go to audiblepodcast.com/Lutz. audiblepodcast.com/Lutz. You're listening to the FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com. I'm Kerry Lutz on 1590 WPSL. Living in today's world, you've probably noticed it just like I do. There seems to be a lack of civility, a lack of refinement, a lack of manners, and a complete absence of etiquette. If you've noticed it, then you need to hear from my next guest, who is Lyudmila Bloch, and she's written a book called World Class Business Etiquette, but I would argue that etiquette carries into all avenues of your life: personal, business, social. Lyudmila, welcome to the Financial Survival Network.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be with you and to share my knowledge about etiquette and especially business etiquette. Go ahead.
And how would you define etiquette?
Well, etiquette is, in my opinion, when I train clients always would ask me, well, give us the list of do's and don'ts so that we can navigate the world of business a little bit easier. And my reply is, well, it's not really just a set of rules. Think of the business etiquette as a philosophy of nurturing and developing business relationships that based on trust, respect, cultural sensitivities, loyalty, and commitment. So it's not really just a set of rules that we can follow. It would be just too easy. But think how your own interactions with others will benefit not only your business, but their business, and therefore it will be a joint effort, in growing business and opportunities together.
And how would you differentiate etiquette from manners? Because it seems to me that manners are deeply ingrained into etiquette.
Well, manners will probably reflect mostly the common knowledge that we have about certain rules that we have to go by. But etiquette is a very broad term. It really encompasses, as you pointed out correctly, all of the aspects of our life. We have social etiquette, we have business etiquette, we have online etiquette, we have business dining etiquette. So when we're talking about etiquette, we're talking about, we mean a very broad term. When we're specifically discussing manners, the manners could apply to a specific situation. It could be, for example, behavioral issues. When we tell our children, well, right now you're being rude, you have no manners. But in a broad term, it's really how we interact with other people in social or business settings.
Right. And one thing that really bothers me today, when I was a kid, my mother always ground into me, say thank you, say you're welcome. When you're going into a store, whatever, you hold the door so that the next person can get it and it doesn't slam in your face. And how many times does it happen to you where you're going into a department store, you're going into a restaurant, and the person just opens the door, lets themselves in, doesn't look back, just lets it slam in your face? On occasion, that will happen to me where I just forgot or I got distracted, but that really bothers the heck out of me because it's part of a civil society that you try to make it easier for the next person to enter. There's something nice about it and human about holding the door for the person behind you to make life a little easier for them.
Right, and not only that, by holding the door, you're really showing respect to the person that follows you And that's the difference. And that's how civilized societies, stand out from all the other societies. If we're not going to really be kind to each other, if we're not going to hold the door, if we're not going to be role models for our children, what is left? What is left? How we're going to manage our lives so that, it's pleasant, it's enjoyable for everybody involved. By not holding the door, by being a rude person, by not helping somebody who is in distress, we really we have to remember that it's not just about us. It's about kindness and consideration towards other people.
Hey, and I feel like one of my own best personal moments, there was a woman on the subway in New York with a child in a stroller, and it was rush hour. And you know what it's like in rush hour. Throngs of people going around you, going up the stairs. They'll walk over your body if you pass out and fall on the platform. And this poor woman was there, and she didn't know what she was going to do. And I just said, hey, look, I'll help you. Just you grab the handles. I got the bottom here. And I helped her get up the stairs. And, she was so thankful, totally unexpecting it. And I'm not saying this to brag, but it's just that when you help somebody, a random act of kindness, if you want, a random act of etiquette, it makes you feel better about yourself and potentially makes that other person feel better about themselves as well. I want to welcome our new sponsor, Audible. I've been listening to audiobooks from them for over 5 years now. I am a huge Audible fan. In fact, I've bought multiple platinum memberships. Platinum membership, you buy 25 audiobooks at a time. I just got done listening to the first 3 or 4 books of the Jack Reacher series, the one you probably saw or maybe you didn't, in the theater, Tom Cruise movie. I mean, just a wonderful book, wonderful series, expertly narrated, and so many times I'm in the car, I get sick of listening to music or news or the radio. I just put my iPod on, plays the book, and makes that trip go by so quickly. To me, this is one of the great things of the information revolution of the internet, is that you can get over 100,000 books on your iPad or iPod or iPhone instantly. Another thing that they have is courses on Audible, the Modern Scholar series. And I've listened to lectures about World War I, Shakespeare, nanotechnology, detective novels. It's so enlightening. To me, Audible is a must-have killer app for the iPhone, the iPad, for my computer, wherever I am. I'm always downloading these books. Like I say, they're a sponsor, so check them out. They've got a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial membership. Just sign up at www.audiblepodcast.com/Lutz, L-U-T-Z. Again, audiblepodcast.com/Lutz. Sign up today. Like I say, this to me is a dream sponsor. These are exactly the types of things that I like to pass on to you because I'm such a fanatical, over-the-top Audible user. 5-6 years I've been listening, hundreds of books. I used to think I was a well-read person, and it's a little strange when somebody asks you, did you read that book? And you have to say, well, somebody actually read it to me, but they actually did a better job than I could have, so I don't mind it. But my friend Sean Perger up in Vancouver, he listens to almost as many as I do, and he can't get enough. I know you're going to love this company, love their service. I do. So check them out. audiblepodcast.com/Lutz.
I think it's absolutely fundamental and it's crucial. And as you correctly pointed out, it's really showing the kindness to the person or to the people around us. And you know what? For me, it's very sad because being an etiquette instructor and etiquette coach, I witness very rarely those beautiful occasions when I see people helping each other or holding the door or, as you pointed out, helping to bring the stroller up the stairs from the subway. And it's so sad. It's, I almost think that, we're losing our own civility because we just don't want to make an effort. And yet, on another hand, that's how we raise our children. Then later on, we're surprised why our children are behaving in a certain way. Well, because they witness the behavior of the adults and significant others in their lives. So if you are the person who is trying to raise a well-mannered, respectful, and civilized individual, you better start showing the examples of that good civilized behavior in everyday life.
Yeah,
and social skills, and all I wanted to add, just social skills go far beyond avoiding offense or knowing what to do at any kind of social occasion. It's really, as you pointed out, it's everyday kindness, it's everyday consideration, and it's mostly how to make others feel a little bit better that day.
I couldn't agree with you more. And one thing I used to do that I know is bad etiquette, at least I came to realize, I would curse in business meetings. And I realized when I had children that if they were cursing, it was because they heard it from me, being a bad role model. And I came to the conclusion that if I couldn't find anything else better to do than curse, I'd probably be better off shutting my mouth. And in this society, it seems like cursing is very acceptable, and yet you'd probably be much better off in your career and your personal life not using those words except in the most extreme situations.
Well, most of the time when we lose control or we shout or we use inappropriate language, it's basically we're giving a message that we're not in control. We're not in control of our own emotions, and for the moment we're struggling. When somebody is in control, and even at the very difficult moments, let's say even in the meetings or in personal life, to really hold on to that control is really important because it shows maturity. It shows that we can handle it with, again, with grace and sometimes with style. Yes, not all the time. We're not perfect. We're human beings, and nobody's asking to do a perfect act all the time or expect a perfect behavior. But we certainly need to strive. And I think when we're dealing with people that are in control of their behavior, in control of their emotions, that's what makes us kind of civilized, mature, and respectful adults that we want to be.
Yeah, and that's so important, and can't emphasize enough that if you've got young children and you're not happy with the way they're acting or their etiquette, their behavior, you should look to yourself first. I mean, it reminds me, Lyudmila, of that show with the dog whisperer where he takes these unruly dogs and basically housebreaks them, makes them behave. And what he's come to the conclusion is that most of the time the dog's problem is the owner's problem, the owner's behavior, and the owner's basic treatment of the dog that causes the problems.
Well, you're exactly right, because children learning by watching and by really listening to the adults that are important in their lives. So everything they learn, including the behavior that they learn at home and the behavior that they learn in school. So if they have a role model or an adult that is not in control of his or her emotions, or a teacher who snaps or not or unable to control the class, then it gives the message to the younger generation, that's okay, that's what we do when we don't know how to handle the situation, and that's what happens. So self-control and self-regulation and kind of kind of self-police, police yourself. That's what I always tell my client. You have to really look at your behavior and see, and ask yourself, how do I come across? If I'm right now demonstrating a good behavior for my children, or is it good behavior for my team members? Am I a good boss? Am I a good leader? But it all comes down to our behavior, and to our behavior at work, at home, or in any social setting.
Couldn't agree with you more. And Lyudmila, can you just give us your website address and how we go about purchasing your book?
Yeah, the website address is very simple. It's etiquetteoutreach.com, etiquetteoutreach.com. The title of the book is World Class Business Etiquette, and what it is a collection of articles for people to read about business dining, about job interviews, traveling on business, how to introduce yourself, how to give a proper business handshake, how to deal with people that come from different cultures, a little bit about body language, use of hand gestures, because as you probably know, that 55% of our message is delivered through the body language, 38% through tonality, and only 7% is the content. So it is important for all of us also pay attention not only to our behavior, but also to our body language as we speak and interact with other people.
So important. And you've really hit a note here, especially with me. I'm going to encourage my children. Perhaps I'll even buy the book for my children and have them read it, because it's so important in a civil society that you follow some basic code, that you act appropriately and speak appropriately and treat people appropriately, so that you in turn will receive the same back. And it's the least that any of us can do, and it's something you really need to think about it. So, Lyudmila, thanks so much for being on the Financial Survival Network. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com, sign up for the newsletter. We've got tons of great interviews coming up this week. And Lyudmila, thanks again. We'll talk with you again soon.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You live in Florida just like me, and you know all about floods, tropical storms, and hurricanes. And you know that the key to surviving is preparation, which is why you should go right now to www.preparewise.com and order some emergency preparedness food now. I did, and I feel better knowing I have it. It's extremely inexpensive and makes so much sense. Did you see those people in New York, regular folks like you and I, dumpster diving? It just makes so much sense to be prepared, and the food tastes quite delicious. There's no chemicals, it's certified GMO-free, so there's no reason not to order. Go to the site now, preparewise.com. Make sure you use the code LUTZ, L-U-T-Z, and you'll get free shipping, and depending upon your order, a whole lot more. That's preparewise.com. Preparewise.com, it always pays to be prepared.